Hi, welcome to America Lost and Found. My name is Jannel Rap. And I want to let you know that I'm here live from Blueberry Suite at Studio 770. Today, I have somebody here that I'm really excited to have in studio. And his name is Patrick Laverty II. He is the CEO of Modern Nuclear, and he went to Chico University. He majored in, what'd you major in?
Exercise physiology.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. And he has daughters, Zoe and Chloe. Wow. I love it.
Yep.
I love those names. I love the rhyming.
Yeah.
That is so good.
But yeah, it was a funny story. Whenever it comes up, Zoe and Chloe, it causes everyone to like kind of get them mixed up, and we do the same thing at home too. So yeah, but it's fun. The rhyme's fun. Zoe and Chloe. Yeah.
That's good. It's good for songs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Poems, songs,
Yeah.
little rap.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I got more to say on that later too.
All right.
For the Zoe one.
Awesome. All right. So Patrick is here because he is a living legacy of his father. And we are here to talk about and celebrate his father's music. I'm going to leave a lot of that to Patrick to tell us about. It's so great. And you're here today on America Lost and Found because of the legacy that you're putting forward, even though your dad passed November 11th, 2023, you are here with this wonderful legacy. So even though you're still going through the grieving process, you are doing something with your dad's legacy in the midst of it. And I find that really inspirational. And I think that the people listening will also find that to be inspirational.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, yeah, it's not just me. It's the team behind it. It's the family. I mean, Shantih's worked really hard to help get his music completed, just to make sure that it gets finalized and gets out there to the public. I mean, he was a man of many talents. He had so many things to live for. He had so many goals and so many dreams, so many visions. One of which was, he was always so into music. He always wanted to get his music out there to the public. So when he passed, I knew that he was so close to finishing his album that, we got to see that through. We got to make sure that his music is finished. We get it out there as much as we can. And because it was all growing up, that was always one of his goals. So we just always want to make sure to see that through. Yeah, that's a big thing for him.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
I think this whole legacy thing is overlooked in society. We think about giving our kids money, leaving money for them. I don't know that we think enough about the other parts that we're leaving for them. And I feel like
the soul and the spirit.
Yeah. And I feel like your dad was I never, had the privilege of meeting him, but I've met you, and I've met him through you and through his pictures and through his music. And I feel like the man was full of life. He was an innovator. He had a lot of spirit. He was funny. He believed in having fun.
Big time. And big fun lover.
Yeah. And that kind of legacy that we can leave is really important. It's more important than the money, I think, because money comes and goes.
Right.
But a way of living, a style of living, your character, that is what sustains.
Big time. Just the fact that we can hear his energy and his voice still through what he's carried on. Ironically, one of his songs being Carry On. You can still feel his spirit, his energy through that. He had so much love to give, and that legacy that you were talking about, him being able to pass on his words and his almost like his wisdom through his music. It's just powerful. So much greater than any dollar or penny could do. He has a song called Zoe, and so my daughter Zoe can hear the song and hear Grandpa singing to her. So amazing. It really is. Very special,
I can only imagine what that will be like for her as she's growing up and
I
going
think about it
through
all
life.
the time. Like, oh my gosh, like when she's older, when she starts to really understand the gravity of it, and then, when she's like in high school or, man, even like wedding day. I think about stuff like that all the time. I'm like, is this going to be in her playlist? I'm always thinking about that.
That is the sweetest thing.
Yeah.
Like, what a legacy of love.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, so what I was saying earlier was the challenge I've put forth to my dad. You know, he met Chloe. Chloe was born. He met Chloe, and then I was like, okay, so the challenge as an artist is you're gonna have to now make another song about Chloe, which already rhymes with Zoe. So it's gonna. So I'm like, we've already used like half of your half of your lyrics now. So it's just yeah, it's too bad that because he was going through chemo. So I mean, by that point he wasn't really writing music anymore. The idea was okay, like once you're better, we got this challenge for you. You gotta write the Chloe song next. So, but now we like to think that the Chloe song's embedded within the Zoe song. Just kind of a fun little tidbit I had with him back in the day. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Thanks.
So your dad came all the way from Scotland.
That's right.
He was born there.
Mm-hmm.
And what brought his family to the U.S.?
Better opportunities. Yeah, my grandparents, I believe my grandfather moved over first, and then the family came over after, and there was kind of like a back and forth. They had moved back to Scotland for a year and then came back. He moved over, I believe, officially when he was 9. I think they came over here, went back, and then came back here. But yeah, 9, they were here in the States. And it was mainly for better opportunity, which is they were first in New York and then moved to Detroit, again, for the same reason, better opportunities, just work opportunities for my grandfather at the time. So that's what brought him over. What's interesting, though, is Scotland, they have a heavy Scottish accent, and then Dumbarton, where they're from, had a particularly heavy Scottish accent. So my dad, my aunt Ray, his sister, they could just turn their Scottish accent on and off because they came here at such a young age. So they learned the Scottish English, and then they learned, I guess, American English. So yeah, they could like turn it on and off on a dime. But to answer your question, better opportunities here in the States. That's what brought them over here. So
what I find so far removed from my people is that we've been here for so many generations that we don't think about the struggle that immigrants have. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like that is a part of your family story, that is part of the legacy, because that takes a huge amount of sacrifice to move to a whole new country, even to a new state. It's hard for families. I think that builds internal fortitude that is in your family genetics,
Yeah.
As they've been studying genes, I'm not a scientist, by the way, but,
right.
but as I've read, if it's true, but biology, the things that our parents learn and go through, it comes through us and it's part of us. And
kind of changes our DNA a little bit.
Yeah, it changes our DNA. And so that strength has been passed down to you.
Absolutely.
So how do you feel about that? Like, do you notice a difference between the strength of, not saying my family's better than your family because we're so strong, but do you notice a difference in the...
Well, for my dad, what I noticed is because he grew up in Scotland too for his early years, he would always talk about kind of like how rough it was over there. And then moving a lot because, New York, then Detroit. And then I feel moving a lot helped him build, I guess, just character, really. So he was very adaptable, and it just made him more outgoing, traveling so much at such a young age, too. So I felt like it just, it kind of strengthened his character, really. And I would see that more recently because a couple years ago, I had moved back down here to Southern California, started working alongside him with the family business. He would connect with some people, just that he had a background of immigration. So if he was meeting with somebody that had a different cultural background, then it was just a way for him to connect on a deeper level than someone that was necessarily born and raised in the States, which, I was. But I could see how quickly he can connect on a deeper level with other people because of that shared background, that shared history. That was a big part, actually. I would say that's a huge part about his personality, was his Scottish background and how he had traveled and how it built upon his character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He learned to communicate with a lot of different types of people.
Oh, yeah.
From all various backgrounds.
Yeah. He could walk in a room with anybody and have an old buddy. Yeah, he was friends with everybody in the room, whether you met him or not.
Can we talk about your dad's music a little more?
Absolutely. I would love nothing more.
So here we are. It looks like he's got an album out.
Of course he does. That's what we're working so hard on. That's exactly what we're working on.
And what is that title?
That's Pony Rides by Pat Laverty. It was produced here, Studio 770, with the hard work of Shantih. She really helped bring it together. It's 8 songs. The way the album kind of went, I guess a little background on the album is that we had like the first 6 mainly wrapped up, and then we wrapped up the last 2 at the very end. And a lot of it, there was, I want to say like the first 3 or 4 songs he was able to finalize himself. And then he unfortunately had passed. So then the remaining ones we did without him. So, but either way, we got it finished. So it's available anywhere where you like to listen to music, you can find it. I mean, you can find it on Spotify, you can find it on Pandora, YouTube.
And it's Pat Laverty, Patlaverty.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It's, Pat Laverty. It's not Laverty, as we get all the time. Pat Laverty, Pony Rides. Yeah,
some of the songs are Pony Rides.
Yeah, first one's
Love You.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Thoughts of Wind, Zoe, of course.
Zoe. Mm-hmm.
Carry On, Younger Days, and I Wonder. Of course, like you said, it was mixed here at Studio 770.
Mm-hmm.
And Shantih was a big part of the arrangements and the production, and she kept it going.
Mm-hmm. He would come here and record with her. He'd bring his guitar, and sometimes he would just do the guitar, do the vocals. Sometimes they would see how he's strumming and then kind of match it just to like I guess make it as perfect as possible. Or they work their magic. And
I understand they can also get a physical copy if they go to the studio770.com website.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And you can get it there, and then you can also get it this way. So there's 2 ways you can get it physically.
If digital's not your fancy, then you can get a physical copy. Yeah, Studio 770. I think there's like a contact us section where you can just write in and request one. So, oh man, I love that picture of him too.
I know, I do too.
Yeah, I
love his smile.
It was so perfect. I mean,
you can tell he's full of joy.
Big time. We knew that's got to be the album cover. I mean, his idea, it changed a little bit because he had passed. Because it was like, well, now we really gotta instill his legacy. So we felt this picture really encapsulated Pat Laverty, because he was really, Pony Rides. He wanted to have like a pony picture, which we still have on there. We have he had like rough drafts of what he wanted it to look like, so we tried to best match it. But for sure, we want to have that picture of him smiling, playing the guitar. Like that has to be on the album. It's just so Pat.
Yeah,
so Pat.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That smile.
The song "Oh." That one we did finish up pretty early on. So there's a local fair that goes on every year, and it's a music festival. So my dad was a sponsor for it for years and years and years. So I reached out to them. I said, this is my dad. He had passed away. He was a sponsor for something like 10, 15 years for this event. Could we play his music? And sure enough, they said, yeah, absolutely. So we picked Oh, because that one was finished, and I felt like that was the most like appropriate for a crowd. Some of them are like, more like low key, very relaxing. And then for like a crowd setting, I felt would have been just perfect for that.
It's
so
very
they let us
fun.
play. Yeah, it is. I was like, it's a really good one. Yeah, So we played on the loudspeakers, crowd. It was surreal to have that play just with such an audience. And that was the first time it was a public hearing besides just, immediate friends and family. So it was pretty powerful. It was a church fair. It was the same church actually where we held his service. So I mean, there's it worked on so many levels.
Wow.
I know. Again, chills. Yeah. We also have a website. It's patlaverty.com. PATLAVERTY, just as you spelled it earlier, but .com. We have a music video kind of really rough in the works right now for the song Younger Days. That song was inspired by the birth of my cousin, which was the first of my generation to be born. He's always kind of seen himself having a music video for that particular song. So it's very rough. It's very rough in the works right now, but that'll be coming out sometime in the near future here. So
that's exciting. Mm-hmm. So that's your dad's sister's son?
Dad's sister's niece, so it'd be her daughter, Emily, was when my cousin Emily was born.
Okay.
Yeah. So Emily's for Younger Days, and then Zoe's for Zoe. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Definitely Family Guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All about family.
Yeah. He was all about like the innocence of like kids. Like, Younger Days was about my cousin Emily being born. So it used to be called Little Girls, but then it was like, well, we should probably change that. So we changed it to Younger Days, and, it's just kind of fun stuff.
All right.
Stuff, yeah.
Any other song titles that got changed that were interesting?
Pony Rides, we kind of bounced between Pony Rides in the Park, so then, but then we went back to the lyrics, and it's how it appears on the album, which is Pony Rides, parentheses, the park. I feel like And I Wonder may have changed over the years, but for the most part, the lyrics have all generally stayed the same once he wrote them down, and these are just 8 of his songs. he had so many other songs. This is just gonna be the first of multiple albums.
This epic thing.
Yeah, yeah. Since his passing, I came across his other lyrics, and so it's just, you know, it's sad but fun to think about, like what could have been, what was this song going to sound like, and you know, what was this song going to be. So which also helped kind of date some of the songs. We were like, okay, so he wrote this at this time, he wrote it this time. I mean, fortunately, he put years next to some of them, so we had like an idea. Yeah, a lot of 1970s
before he got heavily into nuclear medicine.
Yeah. Well, you know, you start working, then sometimes the hobby takes the. But then when he was able to start working on the album, I feel like personally I was able to help out a little bit just because I was able to lighten the load a little bit off the work side since I was working with the family business at that point. Because that's when he started. He started a little bit before I got down here, but then I felt like he could really dedicate time. Yeah, he was coming, I want to say like at least once or twice a month, maybe more frequently once I was here. So I was able to dedicate a little bit more time. And then the health thing kicked in. So then it was just harder to schedule it because it was all energy, like how he was feeling energy-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a toll. Chemo takes a toll on your body like that. So
being down here and helping with the business was integral in getting the music thing going?
I like to think so. I can't say 100% for certain, but it seemed to pick up when once I got down here.
That's good. So his music, when did that begin for him?
Oh man, it's like been his whole life. My aunt was telling me that she believes it started with a drum set he had gotten like one Christmas when they were kids. To me, I associate my dad with guitar, and that started high school, I believe. He started playing guitar with some of his buddies, just garage band, just making music, probably just fooling around, having a good time. That just grew into such a passion for him because, you know, growing up as a kid, he just Friday night he's got his guitar out, he's playing. Yeah, so it started, I would say, from what my aunt told me when he was 9, when he was not when he was 9, but when he was a kid. 9's when he moved over to the States for sure. But when he was a kid is when he first got into music at all. And then when he moved to the States, he was really impacted. I know the Beatles were a huge inspiration for him too, when it comes to music. I mean, again, when we were kids, you get in the car and Beatles are on the radio. He's got that on all the time. So, you know, huge inspiration from the Beatles, and yeah, just a long musical history.
And then when he got older, he had a band with his friends. Was that in high school?
His buddy, who was also his best man, Mike Cressy, would know a lot more about this than I would. They did play in high school, and then they kind of like played. I remember he would tell us about how he would play at like local bars. He would be like on the stage playing, and then he would like kind of like fade in and out of his like Scottish accent and kind of create like a mystery about himself. Especially during like high school and college, he dedicated a lot of time to his music. My aunt was kind of telling me a little bit about how my grandfather had to like set him straight, or the whole family would set him straight, like look, you can't make a living off of music. What are you actually going to do? Like I guess there was a few of those moments that they had just because he had such a passion for it. And he kept that forever. He kept it all the way up until his final days. So I don't know if they had an official band or not, but I know I've seen like these pictures time and time again of them like in the garage playing. So I was like, is this the band, or is this just like they're just kind of messing around? I'm not really sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I understand the passion of music because, you know, I started playing when I was really young and writing songs when I was really young, so I get that. Mm-hmm. But the segue he made into nuclear medicine, that's just like, boom.
Such a pivot, right?
Yes, such a pivot. So how did that happen?
So the way I understand it is that he was first going to school for pharmacy. He was going to that's what my grandparents had pretty much just told him to do. Go to school, go become a pharmacist. It's gonna, you know, it'll generate income for yourself and your future family. So go be a pharmacist. And so he did go to school and he started doing that. And then while he was in school is when he discovered nuclear medicine. It was a relatively new program at the time. He was going to Fair State in Michigan, and he was in the second graduating class for the nuclear medicine program. And then shortly after came out to California to begin working. Well, I believe he started working out in Michigan first and then moved out to California and then started picking up work out here. And he was able to pick up work really quickly because he was one of the only college-educated nuclear medicine techs. But I guess back in the day, the people running the equipment weren't necessarily college-educated. They were just somebody that the department maybe said, hey, here's the equipment, figure it out. And so once they brought somebody in that had education in it, it just brought a lot of value to him for their department. So he was able to get a lot of work really quickly. Yeah. So yeah, it was a pivot. It was quite the pivot. He was diving into his music, not really sure what he's going to do. And then he's like, well, I guess I'll go do pharmacy like mom and dad say. And then he kind of found his own thing. Yeah. And what a thing he found, because he's quite the titan in nuclear medicine. He's got quite the name. So yeah. Pat Laverty.
Well, tell us about what he was able to do.
So he started Modern Nuclear, the company that I'm running now. He started it from the ground up, and through the company, he had quite a few landmark moments. The thing I would say the biggest contribution that he had was, so there's a specific type of imaging that we do. He uses an isotope called rubidium, and so he was the first one to get that mobile DOT approved.
DOT, Department of
Department of Transportation. Approved, because we had it on a mobole trailer, same type of trailer that you would see outside of a hospital. If you go up to a hospital, you see like a trailer out there, an imaging trailer, same type of deal. We had the same type of deal. We put up, it's called a PET camera. That was it's bolted inside. You can't take it out, so it's in there, and so you'd see those around. But he was the first one to get the rubidium mobile approved. The rubidium, he didn't make the rubidium. We used a pharmaceutical company, but even the pharmaceutical company hadn't had DOT approval. So it essentially opened up a whole new market by having that approval. The DOT flew out. I remember he would always tell me about it. Flew out. They showed up at his doorstep, or well, at the company. They showed up, these agents, and they're like, hey, like, what's going on here? And then, he worked with them to get it DOT approved. Before it was, just a small little solo operation. And, I still consider us a small company, but because of the work he did, yeah, there's a whole industry that's opened up now. So it's just so powerful. It's amazing, really, the work that he did. And I don't think a lot of people know that he was able to do that. But yeah, I have like the DOT records and everything. I was just, there it is. That they came down. Here's the report and everything. So yeah.
I can't imagine knowing that, being a child of someone who was able to accomplish that. What a feeling.
When I was younger, like, I had no idea. Dad's just going to work. Guys, we're running the family business, doing some imaging. But yeah, I had no idea like the level of contribution that he had until I became more involved. And so I was like, wow, like, he's really done something here. I was like, why isn't he like traveling over the world with this kind of stuff? It was just kind of blew my mind. I was like, this is amazing.
What amazes me about this at this moment is that, there are so many people in this world that do really incredible things, and we don't hear about them. And yet there are people, I won't name any names because I really don't have any that are coming to mind, that do things that maybe aren't so incredible and aren't so innovative and haven't changed the world for the better.
Right.
And opened a way for the rest of us. And they're being celebrated.
Right.
It's interesting. Yeah. We're so backward.
Yeah.
We're so backward. And I think this whole legacy thing, I've been thinking about legacy a lot in the last, even before I met you. I've been thinking about it a lot because, I'm getting older and I think about what am I going to leave? I cannot leave this world the way I found it or even the way I messed it up. I got to clean up my own mess.
Right.
And what can I do to clean up my mess? And I feel like in meeting you and hearing about your dad, that your dad was all about that. He was about doing whatever he could to make it better for the next guy.
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I feel like this bubble of inspiration just in me right now, thinking about this and what it could do if we were all thinking about what are we gonna leave?
Right.
Like if we thought about that every day, if we were taught that when we were little kids, that it's your life is important.
Right.
Your contribution is important, even if the whole world doesn't see your contribution.
Right.
But your contribution is important, and you do that the best you can. And when you do, the world changes and moves forward.
Absolutely. A lot of what he did was geared towards how could he improve the world? How can he improve the next person? And he was also, of course, very big on what can I do for my family too. That was, of course, a very, very big thing for him. In terms of legacy, something he wanted to contribute towards improving the world, improving everybody, was he had this idea of like a gamma microscope. It was always, he talked about it growing up through just all the time. He was always mention it. The guy is a genius, by the way. He was a genius. By using gamma rays, you could see on an even smaller level than we can see now. I mean, the tragic irony of his passing is that his goal was to create this gamma microscope so that he could see on a smaller level, see how cancer starts on a molecular level and prevent it from happening. So I mean, his goal was to, like so many people, I'm sure so many people out there, his goal is to, cure cancer, but like he had this vision, and we had already taken some steps towards that, but unfortunately, like it was all in here for him. It was all in his head. So like a lot of it, I saw like the framework kind of coming together, but yeah, just kind of the tragic irony. But talk about legacy. I mean, he was always trying to think about how to better his fellow man. He was also very gracious with his income. He was very, what's the term I'm looking for? He was very generous. Yes, he was very generous. He was such a generous man. So always looking out for his fellow man. And yeah, and I feel like that goes right in line with the legacy that he leaves.
So he left his music.
He left his music.
His love for his family. The nuclear medicine innovation that he came through with, his ability to muscle through things. And, there are a lot of people that are geniuses and they're not able to, see it through, their genius through, they don't have that.
Yeah, perseverance, right.
And the perseverance. Sometimes I do think that comes from a little bit of that spirit of, what it took for his family to get here. That kind of muscle and all the different, there's internal muscle tenacity that's built from doing things that are hard.
I feel that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Is like when he first moved here, there's different kinds of emotional punches you're getting by having to move and all that and change cultures. So it for sure it builds perseverance. Yeah, perseverance never go. And you have so much riding on your shoulders now. Like you have family legacy that you're carrying on. Like we've now moved to a new country for the purpose of better opportunity. Let's see this through.
No stopping.
No stopping.
Just gotta go.
Perseverance. Yeah. Gotta learn to take the hits.
That's amazing. Yeah. And we were talking earlier prior, I'm kind of, flipping a little bit on us, but we were talking earlier about when someone passes, there feels like such a separation because they're not physically here.
Right.
We can't see them. And I know, I've had friends that pass that have come to me in dreams, and I had a dream last night. And even my sister, my favorite dream of my sister since she disappeared was she just came to me and she was behind me and she put her chin on my shoulder. And put her arms around me. And I was just like, every time I think of it, I can feel her there.
Just to like feel her embrace again.
Yeah. And I just think there's just like a thin veil between us and them.
Right.
And you said you finally got a chance to kind of take a break. And you had a little vacation, a little free time, and you had some dreams about your father.
Yeah, we had some time away. We had 2 weeks up with the in-laws and a little chance to get a little R&R, and I had a few dreams about him. It was so warm and welcome. It's like, because it's like you're there, like kind of like with your sister. It's like you're there again, and you're able to talk to them a little bit. Yeah, I was sharing before the podcast had started. I had this dream where it's like he just walked in the door to work and he's like, "Oh, here I am, everybody. I was here all along." And like, "Oh, we knew you were going to be coming back. Oh, there you are. Oh, we have so much to catch up on." And it's feelings like that. And yeah, but you're talking about your favorite dream. I had a dream shortly after he had passed where he was there. Felt like it was his spirit. It was like he had realized he had just passed, and so. It could just be a dream, who knows, but this one just felt so different. He was there. He looked like how he did when he had passed. And then my grandfather shows up and like helps like carry him up. I know it gives me chills just talking about it. But this was probably like days after he had passed away that I had this dream. And I remember like I like hugged him and then my grandpa came over and I haven't dreamt of my grandfather in so long. He passed away when I was 12, 13. It was so surreal. This thin veil you're talking about, but to have these dreams and connect in some way, it's so comforting. It's so comforting to have some sort of means to, at least mentally, have a connection, it would seem. So yeah, just like how your sister had her head on your shoulder, just so warm. So warm to have those things again. Yeah.
Felt so real.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You must have felt so cuddled and comforted and just like the connection between the generations.
Yeah, in the dream, it was like I was holding my dad, saying like it's okay, because leading up to it, it was really rough for him. It was hard, like you could tell it was hurting. That's kind of like the embrace. It was like me telling him like, hey, it's okay, And then my grandpa came over. Yeah, it wasn't a 3 hug. So close to the 3 hug, but
Oh,
nah. But it was kind of like, it was like
a passing off.
yeah, so bizarre. Or
That's
maybe it was just a
real.
dream. Who knows?
No,
But I like to think.
I
But
think
I like
it's
to think it's something.
real.
Yeah, no, I
I
like
think
to
it's
also.
real.
Yeah, I think so too. So.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad passed on 11/11.
11/11. Yeah.
I, for a long time, have had a kindred affection for 11/11. And
Interesting.
and
Okay.
I didn't know why. I didn't know what that was. I found out it's a very spiritual number.
I was just thinking that one of my coworkers had shared with me like a numerology 11/11. I can't remember if it was 11/11 or if it was specifically 1111, like the 4 1s. But I think it was 11/11. But it's like a powerful. Yeah, it's all the ones.
It's like
powerful,
straight
right?
up to God, because the ones are
Yeah.
like that. That's what they say.
Yeah.
And then all this time passed, and I found out I was born at 11/11
No
on my
way.
birthday. You know,
Wow.
but I didn't know. I was looking at my birth certificate once, and I went, "Whoa!" That was way after
Yeah.
I had learned that it was a spiritual thing.
You felt just
And
kind of
then-
like a draw towards that number, and then
Yeah,
just happened
so
to discover it.
I really feel like this whole legacy thing is bigger than your dad. It's a
for everybody.
message.
Everybody's
It's a
legacy.
message for everybody. And like I was saying earlier, if we could start teaching our young that they're important. And what they leave here is important, and what they do is important. It doesn't matter what they look like, what their intelligence is, where they come from. They matter, and what they have to offer matters, and don't let anybody tell them anything different.
Right.
And if we were
exactly.
all to live that way, I really think we'd have more peace. We'd have less war. We'd have less infighting, less bullying, all the
Yeah.
things. Because if we just were who we were, and we allowed other people to be who they are,
Right.
I think that we could pass a legacy that would change the world.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm
exactly.
seriously, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm seriously inspired by this.
Yeah.
It's like
Thank you.
really
It's
big for
inspiring,
me.
man. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really big.
something you don't think about until something like this happens. So it's always important to think about how we're all connected and how you're going to leave it on to the next person. And the small problems just get so much smaller, and we're all connected in that way. So.
We are. And, you know, we're all parts of the whole, even though we
Exactly.
feel ejected from different groups and things. But the last thing I want to say is that nobody fits in a box. Your dad didn't fit in a box, right?
Oh, no.
He was a musician through and through. You know, he came from where he came from. He had the accent, the humor. He did his thing. He didn't fit in a box. He made his own way.
Yeah.
None of us fit in a box, but the world tries to put us in categories and boxes.
Yeah.
And when we don't fit, you know, they eject us, but we need to accept us.
Right,
No matter
exactly.
who ejects us,
Right.
we need to accept us because we're meant to be.
Right. It's not an I in this box. It's a we all together.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely not a box guy. I would picture him as the guy who sees the box. He's like, okay, that's what the box is. Okay, I'm going to do Pat Laverty. I see it, there's a box there, but I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I feel like the little bit of that I know of him and some of the video that I've seen of him, that he is that. He's just, I'm just me. I'm just showing up as me.
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
trying to be somebody else. He felt
Absolutely.
comfortable in his own skin, and that's not easy to do in this world.
Yeah, he was confident through and through. Once he had his vision, he was going for it. He was shooting for it. So good old Pat Laverty. Oh, I'll miss him. So many times I wish I could just, call him up and be like, hey, this is what's going on. And that's too bad. Quite the legacy he left.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll come to you more in your dreams.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say about your dad, his legacy, or...
Well, I mean, I feel like there's so much I could say about his music. I feel like there's just stories in each of the songs, and the listeners will have a chance to hear his album, and each one of those songs has a story that goes with it, and they're from all different parts of his life. Some of them back from, 1970s, some of them from 2020. So
Is that the Zoe song?
That's the Zoe song. That's the Zoe song. Yeah.
The Zoe Chloe song.
The Zoe, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The year was a dead giveaway. It was a dead giveaway. There's a lot that could be said about Pat Laverty and the life he lived. And in terms of legacy, the music, yeah, his business, obviously, and then the family that, carries on his name and his energy and his stories. His name, especially through me, I guess. It's the exact same name. Patrick James Laverty. Yeah. So, fun fact, my grandfather's name was also Patrick Laverty. Different middle name, though. Yeah, Patrick McCourt Laverty was my grandfather.
Oh, I love McCourt.
Yeah, my brother got that middle name, Brian McCourt Laverty. Yeah.
Very nice.
So,
Well, thank you so much for being here, Patrick.
no, thank you for having me. Just any chance to talk about him, I'm happy to be here. So, yeah, thank you so much.
You
so
are
much.
the living legacy of your father and your siblings as well. Anybody who knew him.
It's an honor. It's an honor, really.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you next time. Bye from America Lost and Found.
Bye, everybody.